Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. I am Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by Taylor Gates. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
Hi. We are talking season 24, episode 10, Jumped In. That is, oh, look at that. I love that you, for those listening on the audio version, Taylor just jumped in.
Jumped in. I commit to the bit, okay?
I appreciate it so much. If you are new here, welcome to our show. If you haven't been here in a while because, winter and stuff, welcome back. We are so excited. Before we jump in, well, that's a thing I'm going to be saying a lot today. Fuck. Let me start us off with, thanks for jumping. With a hotline for anyone who needs it. The number for RAINN, if you have been assaulted, if you need help, please reach out. Their number is 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-4673. Taylor, what does that spell?
It spells hope.
It does spell hope. So please, again, if you are in a serious situation, please reach out to them. I say serious because we're about to be a very non-serious show. If you've never listened, SVU talks about real issues, real things, and we talk shenanigans and bullshit and another word for shenanigans.
Yep.
Yes. So please consider this your content warning. I'm sure I'm going to say something offensive today. Taylor might, but less likely.
The probability is lower, but not zero,
Correct. Absolutely. And if you are live in our chat, you are very welcome to also say some shit. We love it when you join our garbage that comes out. I do see we have people live chatting. Danny is here. Doreen is here. Daryl's here. Zach is here. Ooh, Zach. We had 3 Ds. Zach is here. There we go. Now we've got 4 Ds. All right. Let me read the quick cap and then we can talk about this. Here's what IMDb said. When Benson becomes the target of a ruthless gang leader, Captain Duarte takes the case. Finn works with the Bronx SVU to help clear its case backlog. Lieutenant Dixon offers to translate when a deaf student is raped. Okay. Fine. That's a fine description. Taylor, what did you think about season 24, episode 10, Jumped In?
Wow. Why do we keep going back to the Bronx? It was just not necessary for this, in my opinion. Like, once we got to the deaf girls, I was like, okay, I'm interested. The first 15, 20 minutes, I was like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't like it when
It was 30 minutes. It was
a long time. I was bored. I watch SVU, and this is maybe not popular. This is maybe not true for everyone. I don't necessarily watch it for the office politics, the personal life. I don't care. I want to watch them solve cases. That's why I'm here. So when we got to see the deaf school, the person who's wrongly imprisoned, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm on board. But it took us so long to get there, and we could have done so much more if we just chopped out all of the random stuff I didn't care about. That it was just like a wasted potential. Like, why didn't we just lean full into that case? Why are we in the Bronx again? Why are we bringing BX9 back? I don't know. Stop. Enough. Also, how is her eye didn't look like anything was wrong with it? I understand if bruising happens. I didn't see a single mark on her until the next day, and then her eye is purple. I don't see how that works like that. I just don't get it. I don't believe it. That's a petty grievance, but it's what I had and I needed to speak up about. Anyway.
Appreciate it. Okay, a lot of thoughts. Agreed with almost everything you said. I think that this BX9 thing would have been interesting had that been the case that we followed, but we sandwiched it, right? Like, we start the episode with all this BX9 crap, and then we're like, but there's this whole other political shit going on in the Bronx that we're going to deal with. And then we end the episode with, hey, remember that thing that started this episode? Well, that we're dealing with next week. Hello. I'm sorry. What show do you think this is? This isn't organized crime. This is SVU. We wrap it up in the 1 hour. You get 1 hour, you wrap your shit up.
And also, if you want to keep going back to the Bronx, make a show called Bronx SVU. We're watching Manhattan SVU. I didn't ask for this. This is not what I tuned into. You can't keep doing this to me. Enough.
Honestly, the only reason I'm annoyed with all this Bronx shit is that we keep meeting people from the Bronx, like our beloved, what was her name? The one who yells at Benson, who uses the girl who was the victim. We use her DNA to find out that she's a theft, whatever. She's in
Yes,
thievery.
yeah. I know who
Thievery,
you're talking
rob.
about. I don't remember the name. But how could we? We can't keep track of them.
Right. So like show us her. Okay, not her. Show us the people that we got the last time we were dealing. I'm assuming this is also Bronx. I'm gonna be honest, guys. All the places outside of Manhattan are the same to me. So there's also the one where it turned out that the cop was every other rape was the cop.
Yeah.
Do you remember which one I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like where were these people? Is the implication that they were all part of the like firings that happened because of the whistleblower case? Because if that is the thing, then like tell us that. Have them be like, well, what happened to this person? Because otherwise you keep throwing us new people and we're like, who the fuck are these people? I don't care. Speaking of who the fuck are these people, Cameron Manheim's character, Lieutenant Kate Dixon, is from the mothership. And the only reason that I know that she knows ASL is because of a deaf TikToker who's like, look how great her ASL is. So the fact that they brought her in to be an interpreter, if you haven't seen that TikTok, I guarantee you're unclear as to why this person knows ASL.
And I will say, I liked that a lot. I thought it was really cool that she came and she interpreted. And I didn't know that about her character, like you said. I think that's an acceptable crossover if we need.
Do you know why? Do you know why she knows ASL?
No.
Yeah, they didn't. I believe her child is deaf.
Okay, great.
That context is helpful.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, but like, yeah, explain it to us. Yeah, like I said, that's the only part I was like, okay, we'll allow her to come in. That's nice to see. We like the representation. ASL is very important. I think everyone should learn it. As someone who took it, I don't know it fluently, obviously, but took it in college. I think it's very important. And it sucks, like when we were talking to the girls, that no one else knew, they couldn't sign with their, hands cuffed behind their back. That's some really important stuff to bring up. So why did we only talk about that for 5 minutes? Like, what's going on?
Absolutely. I agree with you. I think this Bruno guy, this Bruno who sued everybody, I think that he was fascinating, right? The idea that no one was listening to him. And so he was like, I'm going to do whatever I can. He cares about this case. He said that this is the case that kept him there. Like, even though he's now a millionaire, he could have quit, but he's staying because of this case. So my question is this his last case and we're never going to see him again? Because as much as we don't need another white man on our team, he was really good, right? Like, we saw him be compassionate and caring. And are we bringing him to our team, or was he just brought in for no reason?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that his background is interesting. I love some lab bribery. I always think that's really fun. Oh, here's a little watch for running our little DNA quicker. I think that's always fun when they go a little rogue in like a way like that. That's not that deep. Like, I don't know. I think that's always fun. But yeah, as much as I did like him, I don't want him full time. Let's get someone who's not a white man.
Sure. I agree. I want to go back. Everyone in the chat is talking about the shotgun. There were multiple moments in this episode that my notes just say WTF really big, because I was like, what the? So first of all, Benson, the question, I love this. I love the question in the chat. Can we talk about the unlocked shotgun in Benson's closet? Thank you.
We sure can.
Yeah, Taylor says, hey, Taylor, another Taylor. The shotgun was OMFGGG. I was shocked that she had that. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. What movie am I thinking of?
No, I know. I don't know, but I know I like what vibe you're talking about. My question is, like, she doesn't live in rural New York. Like, why don't you have a handgun? Like, what? The choice of gun is really puzzling to me. That's just not something I would think that she would have.
Just lying around
in the middle of the city. Like, what?
But also, like, she sat down in that chair with it. Like, do you know how many cops are outside?
It's giving like country song where the girl brings her new boyfriend home and daddy's waiting on the couch with a shotgun. That's what it was giving.
I think I'm thinking of like Halloween or some horror flick with like Jamie Lee Curtis with a giant shotgun just waiting.
Give me that crossover right now, honestly.
The shotgun was really ridiculous. But back to our chat about the Bronx people. Yes, Doreen says it was Baby Dodd's real wife was the woman that I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
She played the cop that yelled at Benson with the rape kit DNA storyline. You loved her.
Yeah, obviously. She's a powerful, scary woman. Like, yeah, odds are high. Chances are good.
Yeah. Okay, so Daryl says, I can understand why she has a shotgun, but not why she would have stored it in a place with a child. That's a good point. But she is a cop that's been kidnapped before. Yeah, but it wasn't like within reach. She had to go into the closet and then load it, which if she's being kidnapped, she's not having the time to do all that.
Also, transition, but speaking of storing your child.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about this. Is this why they introduced his family? Just so that we'd have somewhere to send him?
Can't be. They have to be shady. I'm sorry. There's nothing about them that screams normal to me. I don't trust them.
I have a question, and I'm putting this out to our chat. Because I know as a woman, when I was a little girl, sleepovers that last more than one night almost always result in a fight or a friend breakup or like some sort of drama. I know that it's different with boys, but are we now setting up that like something's going to happen while he's there? Because there's no way that we're storing Noah with this other family. Noah, who is a big city kid whose mom is a cop, is staying with a family in the suburbs that is probably has different rules, as we saw with like, what game console was it? A PS5?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
The advertisement we got before the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, I just feel like drama has to happen, I'm sure. And the fact that he's still having a good time after the first night makes me think like, oh, okay, we're going to get to a place where he's no longer having a good time and wants to come home. Right? Something's going to happen.
Something happens, because it doesn't make sense for them to introduce them just to like ship him off there. Like, he can stay with any number of people. Like, Amanda no longer works for the SVU. Like, they're besties. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Taylor,
unless something dramatic happens, which then let's do it.
When she asked about coming home, he said no, he didn't want to. Something just doesn't feel right. Daryl says you can't trust the suburbans.
It's so true. As someone who grew up in the suburbs, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something off. I think I almost feel like that's why they introduced this family, was just so that we had somewhere to store him during this crisis. But fine.
I hate that so much, because there's so much easier ways to do that.
Right. I mean, well, there are places he could have been stored,
Saying stored.
Is that not correct? We're storing him.
I mean, it's not technically wrong, but spiritually, I don't know if it's the right word.
Why? Wait, I stand by it. I'm not even trying to be silly. That's what I feel like we're doing with him. Speaking of my other WTF moments, let's talk about Benson shooting the gangbanger kid.
Let's do that.
I do. Look, I appreciate that she shot him in the knee and not in the face. Oh, hold on. Backing up. Doreen says, Finn's son. anywhere.
That's
what
what I'm
would there have
saying.
been?
There's plenty of people she has as a chosen family from being on this squad.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think you're right. I was also like, Amanda, but no, she's got a new job now. And I was like, but it's still, if Noah's not in school, Amanda's not in school, right? She's a professor now. So she's got time off,
Right.
which means, and she has kids. So like, and a
It would have
nanny.
been fine. And Carisi's there.
Well,
Well, maybe.
he has a job.
I mean, whatever. It's just, what about Connor? What about the McCanns or whatever? I'm sure they have the same issues that anyone else in the city would have had in terms of scheduling.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so when she shoots the kid in the knee, and then Finn says some bullets have a lesson behind them. Go on. Elaborate, Finn.
And the way that he said it, like at a very interesting time of the conversation, because she was like, "Oh, I shot him in the knee," blah blah blah. And I feel like that came after. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it came after like she didn't kill him. Like, why didn't I wouldn't have played around like that? Pretty much is what he was saying. Like, oh, I would have done way worse. Some bullets have. So the lesson is like he had to die. Like, what are you saying with this?
Yeah, so she was like, he's a kid. He's somebody's kid. He has, like he's a kid. And that was when Finn says that. Like, Finn. Daryl in the chat says,
that's not it. That's not it.
Finn does say some chilling stuff from time to time. Weird, out of pocket, as the kids say. Yeah. Yes? Did I use that correctly?
You did. Good job.
Thank you. Thanks. Doreen says that McGrath and his wife wrote this episode. Is that? Can someone? I'm not doubting you, Doreen, but IMDb, I'm going to tell you right now, not only is not updated, couldn't give me the name of the most actors in this episode. So
yeah, it takes me a while sometimes.
Yeah, but we do our show on Sunday, and I need it updated by Sunday.
I agree.
So, can you find me, Doreen? Can you find me a link, please? Thank you. Oh, saw it on the credits. Oh, everyone's saying they read it. I'm impressed.
Interesting.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know that. That's interesting, especially because there's the line where McGrath says, where is it? He says to her, "Your displacement," and she makes fun of him for it.
Right,
so I like the idea.
What, 3 times?
I like the idea that he wrote that. That's great.
Yeah. Agreed.
I want to give some shout outs, although I'm going to say most of the actors are not listed on IMDb yet, so I cannot give them a shout out, but I do want to shout out a woman named Heather Rossi, who was the ASL interpreter for this episode.
Amazing.
Yeah, so deserves some credit there. But I cannot give any of the actors credit, which is such a bummer. Okay, so what else did I want to make sure we talked about? Oh, this whole case that they dealt with. Let's deal with the whole case with the Death Carols.
Okay.
Because I think that what was so interesting, right, is they were there to close a case. And Bruno says, it's still happening. There are more victims. So then they get yelled at because they've reopened a case. But if there are more victims, then they did not.
Yeah.
They're just like a big old loophole. And then when there's the murder, they're like, see, still open.
Yeah. The Bronx. I mean, I'm not, SVU was really not doing that much better. Most times, let's be so transparent. Like, but the Bronx really needs to get their shit together quickly.
And at the end of the episode, it seems like that we're leaving Finn to deal with that mess. Thoughts?
I don't know. Enough. Go back to Manhattan. It's so big. There's so much stuff you can do there.
Girl, we're not. Do you not realize? Apparently, according to somebody in the chat said it. I'm going to find it.
The trilogy comment?
Yes.
Stop. I don't care if it's going to happen. I don't want it to, is what I'm saying.
I lost it. I'm sorry, everybody. I lost where it was said. So I can't give credit to who said it. But yeah, apparently there's a three-parter.
We've already had
Why?
2, right?
I don't know. I think this is part 1.
How? We already had the machete case.
I mean, we had the machete case. Okay, wait. So this one was called, I think, hold on, I got you. This one's called Jumped In. The next episode is Soldier Up. And the last one is Blood Out. So it's 3.
Okay.
Yep. Dorian says it's a trilogy. Cool. So how we feel it? I don't look.
Not good.
Here's what's interesting is not only is it about a gang, which is organized crime, but also like you're doing a longer story arc, which again is what they do over on organized crime.
You guys are literally doing things in a place we don't work in with cases we don't work on.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why I tune in? Like, it's fine. Like, here's the thing. I'm like being so negative, and I'm sorry because it's not like there was nothing to like about this episode. But I am tired of these long arcs about things that are not what anybody wants. Why?
I agree with you. I will say, one of our biggest complaints has been when they bring up something and they tie it to a case that is in the past that never existed.
You're right.
So I do appreciate that we are tying it to a case in the past that did exist and that we did see happen.
You're right. But like Duarte, like who cares? Who
Not
cares
just
about this guy? Seriously, point to me one person. We have all these new people we barely see. Give me more Muncie. Flesh her out. Honestly, flesh Velasco out at this point. Why are we fleshing Duarte out more than those two? They're actually on our team.
bring back Cat.
Bring back Cat, obviously. We have to say that every time, but like those people are actually part of the squad. They're in the opening credits. Duarte isn't there, and he's not there for a reason.
I agree, and I think that I would have been okay with Duarte just in scenes with Muncie, the way that we used to have Rollins' old partner when he would like pop into town and she would be like, "You're married, stop hitting on me." Yes. So Doreen sent me a screenshot on Twitter. I have abandoned Twitter, so let me see if I can find that. But
I'm still there. You can send it to me.
Yeah, send it to Taylor. I've abandoned Twitter. Screw Twitter.
I unfortunately won't be there till it dies or I die. So
okay. All right. So Taylor, check Twitter. I think that Duarte should only be in scenes with Muncie. And as Taylor beautifully, not you, Taylor, other Taylor Strickland says, can we talk about Muncie questioning if she should stay at SVU? Yes, because not only does she think she's not cut out, but apparently she finally got this blazer thing sorted out. And then what does Benson say? Take the
blazer.
No.
You gotta pick a side, girly.
Stop telling her what to wear. She's a grown-ass woman. But also, I think one of my favorite lines was said, and I know we should hold it, but it's relevant. You made your bed. Now it's wet.
It's wet.
Figure out a way to lie in it. I want to talk about this metaphor. You made your bed, and now it's wet.
From what?
Not the question. My question is...
Oh, how is it not the question? Explain that to me. I didn't quite get it. Did she wet it?
I guess.
She shit the bed? Shot the bed makes sense, but then it wouldn't be wet necessarily. I'm sorry. If you're going to have a metaphor, it needs to make sense.
I love you so much right now.
I'm sorry, but I'm stuck on it.
I'm stuck on the figure out a way to lie in it as opposed to clean it up.
No, I just figure out how to sleep there.
No, it's it feels like such a, I'm gonna say some shit. It feels like such a man's perspective of being like, figure out how to get comfortable, whereas women would have been like,
clean it up,
clean
do
it
the
up,
laundry.
change the
Doreen
sheets,
did
put in
send
a
me
new
this,
bed.
sorry, Doreen did send me the screenshot, and she's absolutely correct. It was written by those two. That's very interesting. I wonder if they're like in the writer's room. I guess that makes sense. That does happen sometimes. Like Ted Lasso, we have actors who are also like in the writer's room and stuff.
Sure.
So I wonder if that's like a thing. I'm just curious logistically how that works, like in terms of like their show. So, good to know.
That is, I feel like that is how they should be promoting this trilogy that I was unaware was a trilogy. So weird. All right. Daryl says that pee the bed is also a phrase. Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's the bed.
I definitely have heard people say like you shit the bed, but that doesn't feel like it connects to the make your bed now lie in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did someone explain the metaphor? I don't get it.
Anyway, we've got a little distracted.
It's important.
I just want it on the record that I'm not the one who took us down this shitting the bed conversation. I need it on the record that this occurred today, January 6th, 8th, 2023. I don't know the date. Guys. Okay. I almost said June, so ignore me.
Sure.
I want to talk about this Bruno whistleblower thing. Because there's a lot of, as we know, this show is very much pro-police and very, very propaganda-y. We are aware of this. We take that as it is. But the idea to have a whistleblower be like, no one's listening to the victims. There's corruption. There's a bunch of trouble. And then Benson being like, good, like we're cleaning house. Let's fix things. And have her boss be like, no, fuck that guy. What message are we supposed to get from that as an audience?
I think we're always supposed to be Team Benson, pretty much. So we're probably supposed to agree with her, is my assumption.
Okay.
And like, who looks at McGrath and is like, yes, that's who we should aspire to. Like, I don't think, hopefully, most people. I agree. We need a clean house.
I agree too, but I feel like the show is trying, it almost feels like virtue signaling in that it's like trying to be like, see, we're thinking about these things. And yet there's a scene where after Ronnie admits to everything, Finn and Benson are standing there, and directly behind her is a big Blue Lives Matter.
I was gonna bring that up.
It's like so subtle, guys.
What's like genuinely, what do we think the art director, set designer, whatever is like thinking? Are we supposed to think that that's like something we are supposed to be agreeing with, or is that supposed to be like, oh, we need a distance, or is like, what message? You're right. What message are they sending with that in particular? I want to know, because it makes me so uncomfy, because it shows up all the time too when we're in the Bronx. Like, it's not just one little, it's there so prominent constantly. And I agree with you. I want to know what that in particular is supposed to be saying to us.
So Daryl says, we're always getting the message that SVU is a safe haven, a sea of corruption and indifference. And I agree 100%. Excellent point, Daryl. I think that, like, you know, Benson has always been this shining example of what could be. This is who all cops should aspire to be. They should be compassionate. They should listen. They should have a shotgun ready in their closet. Like, this is who they should be. So I totally agree with that. And I think it's interesting that you point out, I don't know that I noticed it only in the Bronx or so much more in the Bronx than at Manhattan. But
is there one in Manhattan?
I don't recall. I just know that this one was so glaring that I was like, guys, he literally had to sue his own department because they weren't listening to the victims. They weren't following through in the cases. And yet we still also are having this. So like a show that is propaganda, but also is trying to have a little bit of discussion about policing and police reform. It's just so mixed. It's so all over the place. And I know that like it's television, but this show specifically for so many years has been a a representation of hope for people, and has, as Mariska herself has spoken so many times, it does encourage survivors to speak out. It does encourage people to get help. So, it, yes, it is television, but like get a message and get it out there.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very interesting choice because it's not ever commented on. It's just there for us to make our own assumptions, which doesn't necessarily work with something as kind of like muddled at times as this can be.
I think it's so interesting because I'm trying to think of the signage that we see in Manhattan at like Benson's office, and I feel like, and maybe it's been a while since I've seen it, but I know that somewhere there's like a safe space signage somewhere there. And so I think it's very interesting if that's what it's supposed to be, is like, you know, our squad room, we're the safe space. We are, you know, a place for everyone, but it's the other police that are bad, not us.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, as we've seen time and time again, it's never a member of our team who's bad. It's always, hey, let's meet this other person. Turns out they're bad. Or our person is accused. It's false. It's always false when it's our people.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting messaging.
It actually reminds me of the conversation between Muncie and Duarte when they're at the shooting range. And he tells her, she's like, I blew up this case. And he's like, you're not important enough to have blown up the case. But she did blow up the case.
Like, that was your fault, actually.
Right, like, yeah. Just like Cassidy before you blew up the case.
Yeah. That was on you, bestie. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. So then what? Okay. All right. I mean, I understand the idea of telling her that she's not, like, important enough to have ruined the case, but, like, her behavior at trial did ruin the case. You know?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
All right. I think that the actual case that we dealt, the one SVU case that we dealt with this episode, the very small deaf school case, was fascinating. I think the weird genealogy lead, like that, is something that I've just been recently reading a lot about, that is happening more and more, that like your DNA going to a genealogy site is now being used by the police. That is like a common thing that is happening. Warning everyone who is sending their DNA to genealogy sites, the police are using those now. Yeah. And I think that is an interesting discussion that could have happened, but the idea that this man has a half sibling and his wife lied to him about being adopted. The man's 45.
Right. Let it go.
I think he can handle it.
I did think that was funny though. Like they were like, no, this guy's lying. He has to know. And I was like, no, the wife lied to him. Like, the fact that I knew that right away, I was like, no, that wife is keeping something from someone. Like, I don't trust her. And the reasoning, I don't know, the reasoning they gave was so interesting to me. Like, the mom had an affair, so she gave him up for adoption. I was like, how exactly? Like, I don't know. That was like a strange, because I don't know. Because I'm just trying to logistically think. Everyone's going to know she's pregnant.
Right.
So, what? I don't know. That was interesting. The whole thing was just an interesting little convoluted to me.
It was so weird. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was really stupid that like, I'm an adult, right? I'm very much an adult. If I found out right now as an adult that the people who raised me and loved me and are my parents were not biologically my parents, okay.
Yeah, right.
They're still my parents. These are the people that I who love me and raise me, and I will always love them and care for them, and they are my parents. I would like to know who my biological family is, mostly so I don't end up sleeping with a relative. But otherwise, oh, so what? It's not going to scar me at this point. I'm an adult.
Right.
Tell him.
Yeah.
He deserves to. You as a wife gave him this gift. Like, let's tell you about your family. Let's find out. And then you were like, ooh, you know what? I don't like that. Nope, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, that was very.
Sir, divorce her.
So many interesting little pockets that didn't, like, we could have blown that up. Like, that could have been that could have gotten real wild real fast. But we didn't. We didn't make it get wild. Maybe the White House crazy out you know what I mean? Like, make that the whole thing. But it wasn't.
I just don't understand not telling him. Everyone in the chat, we have a bunch of people here watching live. Please tell me if I'm assuming you're all adults. It would be really upsetting to me if we have children watching our show.
Like a 12-year-old in here, you guys log off. If you're 12, get out. If you're like,
no, here. Please keep watching, rate and review. If you like us, give us 5 stars. But if you're a child, I don't want your answer.
Adults, I guess I did watch this when I was like probably 12.
Oh, I watched the show when I was a child.
Never mind, you can stay. Come back.
I just don't want your answer to this. My question is, if you are a full-fledged adult and you find out now that the parents who raised you, who loved you, who supported you, who are in your life, even if you are not talking to them right now, even if you've distanced yourself, even if you've had a falling out, if you found out that those people are not your biological parents, at this point, how much would it upset you?
Not much.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, okay. I mean,
interesting.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand when you're a kid, like, you know, you have a lot going on, you're learning, you're developing. That can change and traumatize you and whatever. Like, now I'd be like, huh, all right.
This man is a full. He's a
Danny in the chat says
45-year-old guy. Yeah.
Danny in the chat says, I don't want to know. I'm 18, so adult. I'm glad you're 18, Danny. I've been watching since I was 8 or 9.
So true. Yeah.
You want to know. Daryl says, I don't think it would really matter at that point. That's what I'm saying. Taylor says, yep. That's, again, I think this man is 45. Just tell him.
He's fine. Like, he's going to be okay, you know?
And now he has a half-brother. Maybe his half-brother wouldn't have hurt these people if he knew he had a brother.
Maybe.
Let's talk about his reasoning. As soon as I saw his mom, I went, got it.
Yeah.
And then when they asked him why, and
you've seen my mother.
Why do you think? The fuck, sir?
Very Freudian.
So subtle, sir. I think you're so subtle with your anger. Yeah. I wonder who you're mad at.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I'm trying to look at my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to make sure I think the thing that's really pissing me off is that at the end of this episode, Finn, it seems is like has been left in the Bronx.
Here's what I want to talk about.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with that.
Okay, give me 1 second then. Remember when Finn got promoted to sergeant and there was fear that he would be leaving the team?
Mm-hmm.
Are we losing Finn? Because I cannot also lose Finn.
That'd be really bad. Why would you put that into the universe?
I need it on the record that we will not be losing Finn.
Okay.
Unacceptable. All right, go ahead. Your turn.
Okay. Here's what I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. So the scene where Olivia and Noah are going home. Oh my gosh, scary people across the street. Noah, go inside. This little bitch runs outside in the middle of this confrontation? Are you kidding me right now? I was so furious. I can't believe the doorman is allowing him to run around all willy-nilly. Keep an eye on him, whatever the doorman's name was. Your mom is she's getting the shit beat out of her right now. She doesn't need to deal with you on top of everything else. Wow.
You want to hear my complaint for that scene?
Sure.
She's getting the shit kicked out of her, right? She has a gun, right?
Mommy, get the fuck back inside.
She turns with the gun. I'm sorry, ma'am, have you never driven? You keep your hands forward when you look over your shoulder. You don't turn the gun with you towards your child.
Honestly, there's a lesson
unacceptable.
behind every bullet, so maybe I'm just kidding. But like, maybe he needed to be scared because what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm so angry.
I'm with you.
I don't
100%.
blame her for shipping him off to Connors after that stunt.
She needed to store him somewhere.
He can store him anywhere after that. I'd be like, we are not furious.
Oh man. You know what else we need to make sure we discuss? The chipmunk.
Yes, that was in my notes too.
The fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my first quote was like, "You want to look at that while you're eating?" No, I don't want to look at that ever, ever in my life.
It seems like a good time to talk about best lines.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I have a few, and I'll go first. Okay. So I have the I'm not as pretty as Rollins, but I'll try my best at this emotional support thing. And then between the two of you, we know who's softer.
I had that one too. I loved that one.
You're a bad liar, Muncie. Velasco, not so much.
Yeah. Honestly, what does she have against this girl though? Like, she is never nice to her, ever.
Yeah. Get rid of her. Bring back Cat. All right. But okay, this is the line that I think I want on a t-shirt.
Okay.
I might be old, but I'm not stupid. You're here to piss in my beer.
I had your here to piss in my beer as well. It's a good one.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
You're here to piss in my beer.
It's such a stupid line. And I only ever rob drug dealers.
I mean, valid, you know?
It's I've said it before. I love it when a criminal is like, "No, I didn't do that because I was doing this other thing."
Yeah, that's
like that. Yeah, so like, no, I don't hurt children. I only ever rob drug dealers. Cool.
Valid.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, your turn.
Okay, I have 4 more in addition to yours because you had a lot of crossover. Do not call me a Karen when I'm armed.
It's a good one.
The gears of bureaucracy don't grind any faster because you batted your eyelashes at me. It went with me. Let me just put that on the record.
That is true.
I'm a CPA. I garden and do puzzles with my wife. And finally, that chilling moment where she sees the kid at the hospital and he opens his eyes and she goes, "Remember me?" I was shook. Shook to my core. And that's it.
Yeah, that sounds right. That last one sounds like something you'd like.
Remember me?
I mean, that takes us to the next episode, which is where we're going after this Oscar Papa fellow. Yeah. Okay. For those listening, you're missing the intense eye roll. Yeah. That's true. If you're listening to us on a podcast platform, make sure you've rated and reviewed us. We had no new reviews this week, so we're not reading any in fun accents, but I do have a friend who said that she listened to everything and will be leaving us a rating and review with a request for an accent. So I'm waiting for it.
Love to see it.
All right. I have no ripped from the headlines news this week. But I guess as I've said, I've abandoned Twitter. So are we still doing the weekly poll?
I made one. Last time, it was Ron's last episode, very sad. So we wanted to know what your favorite of my 4 favorites for her was. I cannot believe that one of them got a 0%. Educated Guess is such a good episode, and that's so unbelievably disrespectful. That's from Natasha Leone.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that because the title didn't immediately remind you which episode it was, because I remember when we covered it, it took me a while to remember what episode it was, but that's a great freaking episode.
Guys, that's a good episode.
Go rewatch that after you finish watching this.
Yes. And then think about what you did. In 3rd place, we have Maternal Instincts, a classic. That's one with Kim and her mom, a mess.
A mess.
And that got 11.1% of the votes. In second place, we have Holden's Manifesto. That's the epitome of you're one of the good guys, a classique. That's 27.8%. And number one, which rightfully gold medal, Gambler's Fallacy.
Shock.
61.1%. It's so good. It's unbeatable. Such an amazing episode. This week, I kept it pretty simple. What's your favorite episode featuring the Bronx units? Because apparently we're seeing them every week now. The first one is Hunt, Trap, Rape, Release, which is one of the craziest titles ever. That's I had to like research and Google, but that's the Good Girl Rapist episode.
Rapist. Is that the one where the cop was the?
I believe so. It has cat in it. I had to do, like I said, some research about.
I remember that one being so disappointed because the title made me think it was something else completely.
Right, and it had nothing. The title was so irrelevant to everything else. We have The One You Feed. That was at the beginning of this season. That's season 24, episode 2. That's when they like introduced like Duarte and all of that shenanigans, I believe.
Okay.
And then this one, obviously, and then I said other, comment below, because we've been to the Bronx for other things, but these are the ones that were like, the Bronx was very prominently featured when we like worked with their units. But if you just want an episode where they were just like at the Bronx for a second, comment below and we'll take those too.
The fucking Bronx, guys. What? All right, whatever. I can't with the Bronx. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. You bringing up those episodes that are like unmemorable to me tells me there's something weird about all this Bronx stuff, you know?
We don't go there. She doesn't even go here.
Yeah. Doreen says that Hunt Trap was the Bronx cop. That's the one where like he was doing every other one, right? Where like sometimes they were like he was drunk and sometimes they were like he wasn't drunk and sometimes
I believe so, yes.
That title makes me think of the really great episode where the guy hunted the girls.
Yes, that episode's great. And that's what it always makes me think of too. That is called, I can't remember, but that's an amazing episode. It's like season 13 or 14. It's scary. It's scary as hell. I remember being very creeped out by that episode.
With the dog. The dog is a blue healer. Why
not the dog? So chilling.
God, that episode. I love that episode.
Hold on, I have to look up what that's called. I think it's Hunting Ground, right? Hunting Ground?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, Danny says
season 13, like I said.
Nicely done. Danny says Outcry was in the Bronx, right? Which one was Outcry?
I think that's one that I saw when I was researching. Don't remember the synopsis. But like I said, it's a little hard to research sometimes when I'm just like have an idea and I'm like SVU Bronx. Like which ones were those again? Like I don't remember.
I mean, look, for those who are new to our show and don't know how it works, a lot of times Taylor would be like, this episode, it's this title and this season. And I am like, is it the one where random minor plot line and a character name?
So it's hard to be on the same page.
Because I remember weird shit. Not the name of the episode or when it was. Hunting Ground is the one with the weird music and the blue tint lens. Yes, thank you, Dorita. It was shot very oddly. I don't recall the music.
A scary episode. Yeah,
the actress in that one. I don't recall her name.
I'm not kidding. Like that's one of the like maybe top 3 to 5 that I get like physically a bit ill when I think about. Like Undercover is another one, obviously that makes me like so. Obviously the Lewis arc, but that's something that I don't even include because I don't like that arc. But Hunting Ground is like, oof.
Hold on, I'm pulling up the girl. Oh my god, that episode! That was like that one had Munch going after the Village Voice. Because the like ads for the escorts at the back. Emily Kinney is the name of the actress. I have such a crush on her.
She was great.
That's why that episode is so in my head.
Yeah. Who's the guy in that?
Oh, I don't know.
Is he not? For some reason, I always think it's well, maybe is that a David Hayden episode or no? It might be, right?
David Hayden, is that Harry Connick Jr.?
Yeah. I feel like he's in that. Okay. I always think that he's like the bad guy, but he's not.
No.
Like, he's not. I'm always like, oh yeah, he was scary in that, but like he wasn't. I think it was just some other like brunette guy.
Oh, it's the last episode for Harry Connick Jr., says Doreen.
Okay,
Thank
maybe
you.
that's why like that correlates in my head. I miss him. I know no one else cares, but I do.
SVU, what a great show.
Ride.
Which reminds me, it's time for our least favorite segment. What did we learn?
I'll go.
Okay.
I know that now that I can't remember her name, Cameron Manheim, whatever her Kate?
Lieutenant Kate Dixon.
Yes, she knows sign language.
Yes.
That's what I learned.
Nice. Good one. There was something during the episode that I learned that I completely forgot to write down, so I don't recall what it is. But I did learn about myself that if I found out now that I was adopted, I would be totally fine with that.
Something else that I learned about myself is that BX9 will never sound like a real gang to me. It sounds like, which maybe is the point, it just sounds like a motorcycle, like kind. You know what I mean? Yes. BMX maybe is why I think of it.
Yes. But speaking of motorcycle, the description that Benson says when she was explaining what happened, she said she was hit by a moped.
Yeah. Girl, it wasn't on the moped.
A moped's is an electric scooter, everybody. She was hit by a motorcycle.
She hit her head hard, okay? She's not know what she's talking about.
Yeah. Interesting. What else? What else did I learn? I learned that McGrath has had 3 therapy sessions.
And he knows what's the word he used?
Displacement
means.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh, I know what I learned. I learned that it is important for any victim of a violent or senseless crime to reclaim their own locus of control.
I learned that if I want a DNA rushed, I should wear a nice watch to the lab.
All right. Doreen says, what was the last time you heard a moped?
2008.
Italy?
Yeah.
Just Italy.
So it's a McGuire movie? I don't know.
Yes. There you go. Okay. I think that's all we've learned. If you learned something and are watching live, let us know what you learned. I would love to share what you've all learned. Okay, Daryl says moped means scooter in the UK, like the ones from old Italian movies in the 60s.
But what you need to understand, Daryl, is this also isn't SVU UK, nor is it SVU Bronx. I'm just kidding, Daryl. I love you. That was sassy for no reason.
But also, yeah, moped is scooter. A moped's a scooter.
Right.
People use the term Vespa, which is a brand of moped, to mean moped. So I was like, oh yeah,
he wasn't riding a Vespa. Okay.
Not riding a Vespa.
He was riding a BX9.
I think that I'm guessing, and I can't recall this. I think that BX9 might be named for a bus route. Which I feel like is a common thing.
Okay.
Is gangs being like named for their area. It's like the gangs that are named like 3 numbers, they're named for like the area code.
Okay. That makes sense. So
that it makes sense that it's a stupid gang name.
It just sounds like the brand of a bike for sure.
Also, I mean, it does sound like a motorcycle. I will also say that like BX9, if it was a gang, it should be 9 people max. Like, right? Like, we are the BX9.
That's how they introduce themselves on the street when they rob someone. They say it's like West Side Story. Where
yeah, we just
we are. Give me the SVU musical.
We're 24 seasons.
The only way I'll accept this trilogy is if the last one's a musical episode.
It's 24 seasons. We might as well.
Come on, cowards. Give us a musical episode. Everyone else has done it.
Okay. Doreen says yes, that is correct. Oh, I'm correct about it being a bus route. Finn Namar talked about how we can be afraid of a gang named after a bus route. Interesting. Okay, Taylor in the chat says, did anyone else notice that when Liv was at the hospital and the nurse said she had a visitor, she was not pleased to see McGrath? No one's ever pleased to see McGrath. I'm not. I thought when this episode was starting, when he pulls her into the office, I was positive that we were finally going to deal with whatever storyline was introduced last year that continued, right? He's in therapy now. So what the fuck's happening? Is he abusive to his kids? Is he abusive to his wife? What's going on? Is his daughter going to be a runaway and we're going to have a repeat of the episode Runaway from the early season, season 2? Season 2 sounds correct.
I hope so. Give me some drama.
Yeah.
Have her run away to Connor's house. I don't know, work them in somehow because they're still suspect to me.
Here's what I would like to happen with Connor's house. I would like Noah to come back and tell her that there's something weird going on and that Connor needs help.
I love it.
That's what I want to be happening at Connor's house. Nothing happens to Noah because I don't know that this show would know how to deal with that. Something happens to Connor.
And or we help mom, because we talked about how that was like maybe domestic.
Oh, because I was saying that he was super controlling.
Yeah. I think that'd be interesting.
Not to add more children to the show, because we know I don't want that. But what if, not to get, I'm just going to throw out random facts and ideas. Connor's dad murders Connor's mom. Now Benson has to take in Connor.
I'm so here for that, actually. Honestly, maybe he needs a sibling. He has an attitude sometimes.
Doreen and I were on the same wavelength right there.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Bring Calvin back while we're at it.
Calvin's an adult
Calvin,
now.
Actually.
It would be fascinating to see him.
Yeah, I miss him.
I imagine our current show and I go, who the fuck's Calvin?
Stop. No, here's what we need. We need her to adopt like a few more kids, and then she calls herself BX9 because her last name is Benson.
And she has 9 of them.
And she goes, "You have your BX9, and I have mine."
So she starts a gang?
Yeah, of just her kids.
I mean, when she was attacked and Finn was like, "You're protected," I almost wanted to be like, "Hey guys, the cops are like a gang." In fact,
that's a quote, right? Like, I've got the biggest gang in the city. What is that's a quote from SVU? I forget what episode, but
I think so. But also, it's something that people point out when they talk about how cops are corrupt.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah.
It works both ways.
It does. Speaking of corrupt cops, I was watching Organized Crime for everybody so that you don't have to. And I have some, I guess, news. So remember in Rollins' last episode where she and Benson are having a chat and Benson talks about her fear of possibilities with Stabler. Over on the other side, Stabler's now in therapy. Shocking to everyone. And Stabler says something vague about a missed opportunity or something. It's real vague. It doesn't affect our show in any way whatsoever. I hate that show, and I'm sorry. And you're all very lucky to not have to sit through it. You're welcome.
Good to know.
Yeah. You're welcome. Daryl says he talks about Liv like she has died. Yeah, well, hopefully this ship has.
No, stop it.
There was some article, I think, that was asking Ice-T his thoughts on the ship. On Benson.
He doesn't care.
He does not care.
Guys, Ice-T doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very weird. Ice-T's line, I'm gonna just bring this back again. That some bullets have a lesson behind them. Ice-T, remind me again, what was that very famous song you released before you became an actor? What was it? Cop Killer?
Yep. Some bullets have a lesson behind them.
Sir. All right. Okay. Before we wrap things up, I want to thank everybody who's live in our chat. We have so many people chatting today, and I absolutely love that. Doreen and Daryl and Danny and Taylor and Zach. I'm adding D's to everyone's name today. Is that it? Is that everybody who's been live chatting with us? Am I missing anybody? Yael and Taylor. Thank you guys so much for being here, for being live with us. We absolutely love that. What else do I need to remind everybody? We sell ridiculous merch. There's a link to that below. Am I going to make a t-shirt that says you're here to piss in my beer? I don't know yet. I haven't decided. It's weird. I don't even know what that means.
I think it's like not us tying this to like the bed wet, but like I don't know, like, who pissed in your cereal this morning? Like, that's a thing, right? Doesn't people say that?
Guys, this is a lot of body fluids today, and I'm sorry.
Well,
and
yet,
I feel like that's none of them was like questions about how the semen got there. So that was an old episode. It was a great episode.
A lot of old episodes.
Okay. So for this trilogy, I just want to let everybody know we will not be here next Sunday because we're going to be somewhere else. But we will make sure that we cover the episodes. Don't worry about that. But until then, Taylor, where can everyone find you in the poll?
You can find me and the poll on Twitter at alphabet_and. You can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_.
Amazing. I am Yael Tygiel. I am on Instagram at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. You can find me on the official Leverage Redemption after show on Electric Now. Coming up in less than an hour, I will be on FANVERSATION talking to someone from Leverage Redemption from the most recent episode. So if you want to be here live for that, go get a snack, go to the bathroom, and then come back. If you are not watching live and you're watching us on Spotify or listening wherever you listen to podcasts, thank you. I appreciate you. Come join us live sometime. Sundays, usually. Yep. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.